I'm gonna send a message to myself. 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 Message to myself. Message to myself.
Hey, y'all.
Hello.
You on mute, Dr. You saying something?
Oh, I said hello. We're live.
Oh, hey. Hey.
Oh, I gotta paste
Hey, y'all.
I was just about to say, you have the link.
Hey, y'all.
Hello.
This is for the question marks. This is for the outcast soul, lost control, no one knows. Sing it for the can't go back. Sing it for the broken past. Sing it for the just found out. Life is now upside down. If you're looking for hope tonight, raise your hand. If you feel alone and don't understand, if you're fighting life, then stand. We're gonna make it through this hand in hand. We will rise together. This is for the second chance. This is for the new romance. Singing for the left in vain. Overcame. It's not too late. If you're looking for hope tonight, raise your hand. If you feel for the busted hearts. This is for the question marks. This is for the outcast soul, lost control, no one knows. Sing it for the can't go back. Sing it for the broken past. Sing it for the just found out. Life is now upside down. If you're looking for hope tonight, raise your hand. If you feel alone and don't understand, if you're fighting life, then stand. We're gonna make it through this hand in hand. We fall, we will rise together. This is for the second chance. This is for the new romance. Singing for the left in vain. Overcame. It's not too late. If you're looking for hope tonight, raise your hand. If you feel alone and don't understand, if you're fighting the fight in life, then stand. We're gonna make it through this hand in hand. We fall, we will fall together. together with our differences. Together we are bolder, braver, stronger.
Welcome to our first Sunday webinar. And just like the video said, we are braver, we are stronger together. We are CCES Strong. So I would first like to thank everybody and give a shout out to all of our families, all of our parents, students, teachers, everyone. We have had 3 great weeks of virtual learning, and it is because of you. So we persevere. I know we've had some tech issues, but everybody has persevered through those issues, and students are learning. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, we want to give a shout out to these 3 classes, because I know during virtual learning, sometimes you just want to log off during the middle of the day, but we have 3 classes whose students persevere every day and have perfect attendance. So let's give a shout out to Ms. Skipper's class, Ms. D. Allen's class, and Ms. Reed's class. Boys and girls, I am so proud of you. Parents, thank you for ensuring that your child is online all day, every day in these 3 classes. And so at the end of this month, we are going to have an attendance celebration. So those students that have perfect attendance or improved attendance, because we know that that first week was kind of rocky, students getting into Zoom, getting devices. So if your attendance improved from the first week of school up until the last week in September, you will be invited to that attendance parade. So we have some great incentives for you. So I encourage you to continue to log on every day and be present every day, because we are having school. I just want to show you some data to show how our participation has been over these first 3 weeks of virtual learning, or this data is showing the first 2 weeks. It does not include last week. So the first two weeks, we were at 89.3%. We had an average participation of 89.3. And this rate is showing students who logged into Google Classroom, students who logged into My Backpack, students who logged into their Zoom lessons, all right? And so as you can see from the graph, our 4th and 5th graders are leading the pack with 95 and 93%. So I encourage our pre-K and kindergarten. That has changed because I know pre-K is using Seesaw. So the data will include Seesaw going forward, but pause up to those 4th and 5th grade students leading the pack. So parents, boys and girls, I do encourage you to log on every day, because attendance is taken, and those same protocols for attendance are in place, as well as grades. And we'll hit on that in just a little bit. This graph also shows the percentage of students by date. So as you can see, for some reason on those Mondays, we're falling short, and on Friday. So we want to make sure that we are consistently logging on throughout the week, every single day, to every single class. And so today I'll focus on what is going on in each of those blocks, so you can make sure that your child is not missing out. But again, I want to thank you for being resilient during this time. We are CCES Strong. These are 12 strategies I presented to our faculty and staff for building resilience. And so I do want to share them with you. Just making sure and telling yourself right now, right here, everything is okay. Feeling your body. So those breathing exercises that we do on morning announcements on Mondays and Wednesdays, participating in those, doing those on your own. Recognizing and naming your emotions, and staying connected to people. I know we cannot be face-to-face right now, and it is difficult. I've heard so many students in our class in the morning, when we share how we feel, they say, you know, I'm kind of sad because I miss coming to school every day. So I encourage you to stay connected. Take care of yourself, you know, eating, physical activity, all of those things, because of course, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. Practice perspective taking, be kind to yourself and distract yourself. Look for those bright spots. Practice gratitude. What are you thankful for during this time? And practice mating, all right? Because we have to be resilient for our children, because behind every young child who believes in himself is a parent who believes first. So I do encourage you to be resilient. I know we are all in different places, different spaces during this time, but we are CCES Strong. So today, this will be the focus of our webinar for today. So first, I'll talk about those daily components in your child's schedule and why it's so important to log on to each live session. Also, daily expectations. I know Mr. Gomillion has shared a video with everyone as far as student expectations, but I just want to hit on 3 more that we may have left off that we didn't foresee, but we want to bring those 3 things up now. Also, the CCES Learning Hub, shout out to our parent liaison, Ms. Lee, for keeping that Learning Hub updated. And it's a one-stop shop for you to locate all of your students' resources as well as Zoom lessons. And also, I want to hit on Zoom student authentication. I know we hit some bumps in the road last week with authentication, so I do want to review those steps as well. So we're going to start off with the daily schedule. So our daily schedule begins, pre-K begins at 8:30, everyone else begins at 8:45, and we go clear up until 1:45 with a few breaks in between. So the morning portion of our day, that first block is just 15 minutes, but this is a huge part of the day. It's our social emotional learning and inquiry. So this is where the teachers have their class community gatherings, and they check on students to see how they're feeling. They also discuss the book of the month, and the book of the month allows for kids to see children just like them going through some of those same things and how they dealt with it during that time. And we also practice our morning intervention. The same interventions you hear on the announcements, the teachers are practicing with students to remind them how to manage themselves. Also, we discuss our IB inquiry. So we begin each unit with a provocation, and a provocation is simply a way to hook students to begin to get those questions about whatever content students are learning. And students, the teachers start with a provocation, and they make those daily cross-curricular connections with our IB components. So that first 15 minutes is jam-packed, but it is imperative. I suggest that you log on at least 10 minutes early so you are ready and prepared. So the morning consists of our ELA block. So with ELA, we have our balanced literacy block. And what that means is our students engage in different components of reading that help them become a better reader. So we start off with our phonics block. So this is a live session. Teachers are teaching students how to read by correlating sounds with letters or groups of letters in an alphabetic writing system. So students are learning what those sounds are, how to decode words, because if you can't decode words, then of course, you're not going to become a better reader. And this is an essential part of the day for students to become better readers, because although your student may be able to read, we do want to continue going through this phonics with them. So when they get to those larger words, those multisyllabic words, they're able to decode those fluently. So phonics is what we start off with at 9:00 a.m. Then after our break, we have an interactive read aloud. So this is just not teachers reading to students. There's a purpose behind the interactive read aloud. Teachers model how to read fluently, that's first, so students are able to see what a good reader, how a good reader reads, and they give a strategy for a given standard. So if a teacher sees that the students are struggling with a particular standard, doing an interactive read aloud, he or she will model a strategy to tackle that standard. Also, students discuss within the text questions, so questions that can be found right there in the text are questions about the text. So why did the author choose a particular structure, a particular title, particular words and illustrations? And then they ask questions about that relate to beyond the text. So how can the student connect this book to their life or just real life, period? And this portion of the day builds students' language, vocabulary, and reading comprehension. So that's that second 10-minute block. Then we move into our shared reading or our reading mini lesson, as well as science and social studies. So during this time, teachers teach how to analyze the text through annotating the text and then think aloud questions. Again, they're reading the text and they're thinking out loud to themselves. They're marking up the text. They're marking up the text in order to make sure students understand what they're reading. Teachers also teach the standard with a reading strategy. They use guided questions as well as graphic organizers to organize those ideas. Again, this portion of the day also builds student language, vocabulary, and reading comprehension. Now on Thursday and Friday, we moved from the shared reading and reading mini lesson to science and social studies. And during that time, students focused on their grade level science and social studies standards, as well as those IB components and inquiry. After our shared reading, we move into guided writing. And again, teachers teach students how to write narrative essays, persuasive essays, and opinion essays. And again, it's building student language, vocabulary, and writing skills. And as stated before, on Thursday and Friday, this time is dedicated to science and social studies. And students are allowed to build that real world connection and determine what they will do with their new information learned. So no longer are we just studying history. We are studying history, but then the students related to now. What can I do? How does this relate to my life now? And the last part of that balanced literacy block is small group reading. So every student in the building is split into a guided reading group or a differentiated foundational skills group. And these groups are based on phonics or reading comprehension gaps. So when your student took the STAR assessment and the informal decoding inventory, we were able to see, okay, what exactly does this student need at this moment? And so during these small groups, we focus on whatever that skill is for those students in that group. So every student in that particular group is focused on that same skill. And these groups will change throughout the year. So that's our balanced literacy block. That's that 2-hour block in the morning. So each of those components build on another. So if your student misses their interactive read aloud, they're not going to quite understand what the teacher's referring to when she talks about the text in the shared reading. So it's imperative that they log on to each of those sessions. We have an hour lunch break in the middle of the day, and then we jump into our mathematics. So as most of you know, we use the Eureka program. So we start our math with a sprint or fluency drill. Then we move to the application problem, where students are basically given a word problem that applies to real world, and they have to figure it out on their own. And then we move into the concept development. So whatever the standards are for a particular grade level, they build that concept during this time. Then the teacher debriefs with the students to, clear up any misconceptions there may be. And then students are asked to return to small group. So that's our mathematics block. And then after math, your child participates in specials. So please make sure at 1:15, based on your child's schedule, that your child is attending Spanish, music, art, PE, or for third through fifth, band is a little later in the day. So those are the components of our day. So I want to stop right there. Mr. Gomillion, do you see any questions in the comments?
No, not at this time. We're just welcoming parents as they come in, but no comments at this time.
All right. So I'm going to jump to our topic number 2, which are the expectations. So our daily expectations. So as stated before, I know we previewed a video from Mr. Gomillion that talked about 10 expectations for students, making sure they're respectful to their teacher and other students in the class. This is huge. And I had a talk with some students. Everything that we do online, we want to be just as respectful as we are face-to-face. Sign in 10 to 15 minutes before class, because once that class begins, it's a little difficult to kind of go back because you saw how short those time frames are. Be prepared with all materials. So we did give each student a learning bin so that if they can have that learning bin right next to them. If you have not picked up your child's learning bin, please make sure you stop by the school to pick up that learning bin. We still have a lot of bins there, as well as book bags that were ordered. Also, have your child go to the bathroom before class or on those breaks. There's a 5-minute break between each of those components in the morning. So that's a great time to go to the restroom. Sit in learning position. Like we said, don't do school from bed. If you do have to sit in your bed, please sit up, not wrapped in a cover, but you're sitting there ready to learn. Try to find a table, if possible, that's clean and organized and a quiet place for learning. Also take care of all of those materials, because those are materials for this first semester. So make sure you don't take your device outside, keep it charged, and put it in a safe place when you're not using it. Also on that device, please, if you look at the top of your browser and you see several open windows, you want to close all of those windows. Close all of those windows out. And every day after you finish class, go ahead and just shut down your computer for a little while. I know we're having a little connectivity issues with some students, But most of the time, if you have a lot of windows open, that's a lot of power for whatever hotspot, your internet at home, whatever you're using, that's causing a lag. So you want to make sure all of those windows are closed and you only have the windows open that you need for class. Listen and follow directions of your teacher. Get fully dressed before coming to class. If you're having trouble, use your teacher's office hours for help. Of course, if you're in the middle of the lesson and you have a question, go ahead and type it in the chat or whatever norm your teacher has created for asking questions. But if it's a bigger issue, make sure you come to the teacher's office hours daily from 2 to 3 for those questions. Also commit to doing your best every day. Like I said, staying logged on and giving it your all. Now, these 4 bullets in red are those ones that I wanted to bring up that we didn't quite put in the expectations, but I do want to make sure that we're all on the same page. We need students to remain logged in for the entire lesson. So once they get on, they are on for that entire lesson. Leave the camera on for the entire lesson. If your camera's working, we want to make sure that that camera is on because that's a great way for teachers to engage. If the camera's off and it's working, you know, we can't see you, we don't know what you're doing. And so we have had situations where kids are turning on and off their camera, but we want to make sure that that camera is on the entire session. Like I stated before, log on to all blocks, especially for our 5th graders. Our 5th graders are departmentalized, so they rotate from teacher to teacher. And the expectation is that you go to each of those classes. If you go to one class and you don't go to any other class the rest of the day, then that whole day is not marked present. You must engage. So don't just go to that first block and then log off for the rest of the day. You have to go to each block because each of those teachers is teaching a different concept. So one particular thing that you can do to help your child stay on task is use a timer. So in between those sessions, when they have those breaks, set a timer on your phone. So when they know that timer goes off, they need to log back into class. I know Mr. Gomillion talked about his students having it in class and making sure that, you know, he sets a timer for them so they can keep and stay on track. Mr. Gomillion, I see we have a question.
Yes, we do. We have a question about scheduling. Parent says, with band, what day does 3rd grade go and what time? I know on Tuesday, the block for specials is blank for my son. So does he have to go to band or is that a selective elective?
So for 3rd grade band, I would, and Mr. Gomillion, can you get that name as well? I'm going to have Ms. Freeman reach out to you because band is not mandatory. It's for those students who want to participate. So for 3rd grade students, we have a recorder band. So if your child doesn't want to be a part of that recorder band, I can get that information to you. And then 4th and 5th graders are from last year. So our 3rd graders that participated last year, as well as 4th graders. But band is a great addition to your day. So anybody that is interested in band, you can go ahead and put it in the chat. And Mr. Gomillion can take that information and we'll have our band teacher, Ms. Freeman, reach out to you. But band actually starts at 2 o'clock. It's a later class, but I'm telling you, your child will enjoy it. So if you do want your child to be a part of the CCS band, Mr. Gomillion can take those names. You can put your name as the parent and we can get you in touch with Ms. Freeman. Mr. Gomillion, do you see any more questions?
No, not at this time. Ms. Koth, if you could put your child's name in the chat and I will reach back out to you.
Or you can put her name, Mr. Gomillion, so we don't have.
Okay. I got it.
All right. So also, why is it so important to attend those live sessions? So the live sessions, the teachers are teaching those targets for the week. So your child has what we call a playlist, and there's a sample on the screen. And so this playlist builds throughout the week. So at the top of the playlist, as you can see for this is a 5th grade social studies playlist. You can see the learning targets at the top. So this week we will, and this was the first week of school, Ms. Adams was getting the students organized, learn and review virtual classroom rules and procedures, and she's listed them there, as well as I can statements, okay? So when you look at those I can statements at the top of the playlist, your child should be able to say, yes, I can to each of those statements. So by Friday. So throughout the week, the teachers, those live lessons are addressing these targets. And then there's a learn about it section. So let's say I'm on my teacher's live lesson. Ms. Adams may say, okay, boys and girls, when you log off today, I need you to go to the playlist and watch the video in the learn about it section. So then that's going to give the students even more additional information to reach these targets. Then Ms. Adams may say, boys and girls, today when you log off, I need you to do the first 2 practice opportunities on your playlist. So the part where you see practice it, the students, that gives the students opportunities to practice. And then the teacher can see based on that practice, okay, what do I need to ensure students know tomorrow? They have their week plan, but they can make adjustments based on what they see the students are doing during the practice set. Do they get it? Do they not get it? What else do I need to cover during this week so the students can produce their evidence of learning? So at the bottom of that playlist is the evidence of learning. This is the assignment that students will receive a grade for. So every week they receive a grade in each content area. So if they're not submitting that evidence of learning, then it's a 0. So this is very important. And we're still doing report cards. You get your first progress report September 21st. So all of that will be in the parent portal. So if you haven't signed up for a parent portal, please do so. It's right on our website. But I just want to reiterate, logging on to the session doesn't give the child a grade. I logged on every day, but I didn't do any evidence of learning. That's a 0. They have attendance and participation, but they haven't completed the assignment. Let's say I log on every day and I did my evidence of learning and it's complete, it's great, it's whatever the teacher asked for. Then they'll receive the grade established by their work. But we want to ensure, so every week these playlists change. So they are in Google Classroom, they are posted on the teacher's landing page, and they have one in science or social studies. So each week you may not have science and social studies, science or social studies, whatever the focus is that week. They also have one in reading, writing, and math. Reading and writing are on the same playlist. And then they have one in math. So you want to make sure you ask your child, hey, did you do your evidence of learning on your playlist? And they need to submit that by Friday at 3 o'clock. All right. So the playlist is essential for your child's grades. Mr. Gomillion, I see we have another question.
Yes, some of my daughter's teachers' playlists are restricted. Why is that?
Okay, that means when you log on to try to see the playlist, you want to make sure you're in your child's account. If you're in your own Google account, it will not allow you. The only way you can see them if you have your APS, each child has an APS email. So you want to make sure in the upper right-hand corner in Google, you are in your child's account. If it's still happening, then if you can just put your teacher's name in the chat, we can make sure they change those restrictions. But again, that's one thing. I know when I'm in Google, sometimes it switches between my personal account and my APS account. And when I'm in my personal account, I can't get any of these documents. So when you're in Google, and they're all Google documents. So when you're in Google, just make sure in the upper right-hand corner, you're in as your child and not with your own personal Gmail. Are there any other questions, Mr. Gomillion?
No, not at this time.
Okay, awesome questions. And if you're still having that issue, if you can just put your teacher's name in the chat and we can make sure those restrictions are correct. One thing that you can do for your child also to help them with this, because we do know it's a lot to navigate as a K-5 student, create a checklist. So you may just have a daily checklist. Did you log on to all your classes? Did you commit? You may have your child say, okay, I want your evidence of learning completed by Thursday. So we know that it's done by Friday. Did you read for 30 minutes today? So maybe have a list of or checklist on the refrigerator. I saw one child have one on their wall with a piece of paper, and then they can check off all those things they've done that particular day. All right, so we're moving to topic 3, our CCES Virtual Learning Hub and Zoom authentication. Again, shout out to Ms. Lee, our parent liaison, for that awesome virtual learning hub. All right, so this is just a picture of our virtual learning hub. This is your one-stop shop. I am going to talk about authentication because since the district implemented the authentication process, before you can jump into Zoom from here, you do have to do one thing. So I'll talk about that. And I think that's where a lot of us were hitting that bump this week when I was talking to parents. So on this virtual learning hub, you click on your teacher, click on your, once you click, I'm sorry, you click on your grade level. Once you click on your grade level, you click on your teacher, and then you'll find the teacher's office hour link, all links you need there. Under the videos, we'll go ahead and upload all of our Sunday webinars. We're going to be doing this twice a month. So we'll put all of those videos there. You also see there's a link to our morning announcements. We do post them on Facebook and in Dojo, but you have them here as well. So if you want to go back to the morning announcements from the first week of school, you can do that. You also have a link for families. We have a link for our families, so morning announcements, all of those newsletters that Ms. Lee sends out on Fridays, they're also archived here. Resources for families, as well as any district COVID updates. We're currently in phase 1 of virtual learning, but the district will update us as we move throughout the school year. So we, of course, we'll communicate those updates and robocalls and through Class Dojo, but you'll see updates here as well. You have the access to all of our social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter, and then any survey. So we will be surveying to see what topics you would like us to discuss on Sundays. And you can find those surveys here as well. So like I said, since we have the district authentication, we do have an extra step when we are logging into our classes. So everybody had to go through the authentication process once, right? But now every morning, students you want to make sure your child logs into the Zoom app before going to class. If they exit out of the app throughout the day, they're going to have to go back and log into that app. So on an iPad, you'll see the Zoom app on the screen. On the Chromebook, it's on the bottom toolbar, like in this picture, the blue camera in the circle. So if you've never authenticated, or if you're having trouble, if it says you need a password to get into your teacher's class, or you can't get into the class, then go through this process. So you want to open the app on the iPad or the app on your Chromebook, the Zoom app. Once you open that app, you're going to hit sign in, but you want to sign in with SSO. Okay, you want to click sign in with SSO. Anytime you're signing into a class, you want to click sign in with SSO. Then you have to put in the domain. If you did this once, it should stick, but if not, you'll have to do it again. It's Atlanta Public Schools with an S -US. This is the step where a lot of people, there's a letter missing, the dash missing, the S is missing from school. So this is where, if it doesn't work, always go back to this step and just make sure your child spelled it correctly. Atlanta Public Schools with an S -US, and then you're going to click continue. Once you click continue, you'll get the Microsoft sign-in. The Microsoft sign-in is your student's username. So the name is typically their first initial, last name, and it's 4 numbers. And then you want to put @student.apsk12.org. Okay. Then you're going to click next. Then you'll be prompted to put in your username and password. Again, you're going to put in the student username. Again, that first initial, last name with 4 numbers @student.apsk12.org. And then their password. Their password is their lunch number. It's 5 digits, okay? So that's their lunch number. If you do not know, you can call the school at 1000 and we can get that to you, 404-802-1000. So once you do that, it'll say close the app and click on the Zoom link. Now, this is the kicker. You don't want to close the app. You just want to minimize it. You want to keep it minimized all day. If you keep it minimized all day, you won't have to keep going through this process. If you hit the X in the screen, this is information that they sent out. You don't want to close it. You just want to minimize it. The little dash, that's minimizing. You want to minimize it, then go to the hub and log into your teacher Zoom. You should have no problem. If you, let's say, okay, I log into my first Zoom, it's lunchtime, I click that X, I'm out of Zoom. You're going to have to sign in with SSO again, okay? If you can't get into your teacher Zoom, always open the app, click sign in with SSO, and go through that same process. Sign in with SSO, I'm going to go over it just one more time, because we want to make sure we are all in class every day. Sign in with SSO, open the app, sign in with SSO. The domain is Atlanta Public Schools with an S -US. Continue. Then just think of this this page as their email, your child's username at student.apsk12.org. And then same thing, email address, but now you add your password. Don't close out, minimize, and then go to your teacher's Zoom. All right. Mr. Gomillion, do you see any questions?
No question at this time.
All right. Well, before we end, I just want to make sure, Mr. Gomillion or Ms. Lee, do you have anything to add for our parents today?
No, I want to just thank you for the parents who've shown up and asked some great questions today. And I would just like to reiterate on Dr. Vaughn's points of just being present and being engaged. We are at a time where a click now is such a small thing, but it carries great importance now, being in this day and time. And so when you click off, or when you or your child decides to click off out of frustration, that click now carries a huge importance. And so we want to be sure that we are clicking for the right reason and staying on and staying engaged, because in this new normal, hopefully we won't be here for long. But we really want to I really want to stress the importance of the click. So each and every day, need you guys there and present and engaged.
All right, I like that that metaphor, that analogy, that clicking is important now, and we want to make sure we are present, we are plugged in, we are engaged, and hopefully, like you can see on the screen, our kids running and playing. I believe this was field day a couple of years ago. We want to be in that same place, hopefully soon, where we can enjoy each other's company. Ms. Lee, did you have anything to add?
Just wanted to say thank you all for coming, and also, even though I can't be in front of you and let you know that, to let you come into the Parent Center, that survey that is on the virtual hub, please fill that out. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything that you need from me, fill out that survey, and I'll do all that I can to make sure I get you the help you need.
All right, thank you so much for attending today. If you have other friends that you know of that students attend CCES, please let them know. Every other Sunday, we will be here with a new topic. And like Ms. Lee said, she'll have some surveys out there so we can find out what do you want to focus on each Sunday. Have a great Sunday afternoon. And again, thank you for being resilient. Continue to be resilient. And remember, we are CCES strong.